Today's reading comes from John chapter 6, verses 32 through 35. Then Jesus said to them, "Very truly I tell you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread from heaven, but it is my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is that which comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." They said to him, "Sir, give us this bread always." Jesus said to them, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. I grew up on Wonder Bread. It was the 1960s, and Wonder Bread was truly a wonder, a miracle. One of the best things that the modern world had offered up to its citizens. Wonder Bread sales exploded in the 30s with the introduction of sliced bread. In the 40s, they filled this miracle bread with more essential nutrients and vitamins. It was endorsed by nurses. In the 1950s, Howdy Doody was telling his TV audience, "Wonder Bread builds strong bodies 8 ways. Look for the red, yellow, and blue balloons printed on the wrapper." Wonder Bread was not only good for you, it was fun. And in the 60s, Wonder Bread did it again. It increased the number of nutrients and proclaimed that it now helps build strong bodies 12 ways. So it was that my mom brought it home to our house. After all, it had the good housekeeping seal of approval. But the bottom line for me and my brother was that it tasted good. Every once in a while visiting a friend's house, we would come upon that other kind of bread, the brown and gritty kind, the kind that would crumble apart, and we thought it was awful. We forced ourselves to eat it only because we were taught to be polite. And when the day was over, we could not wait to get back home and fill our empty, rumbling stomachs with real bread, Wonder Bread. Somewhere in the 70s, I began to hear more and more about the health benefits of whole wheat bread. But growing up in California, you could blame such misinformation on the hippies. Surely Wonder Bread was good for you. It says so right on the wrapper. But by the 80s, I found myself occasionally ordering whole wheat because that was the thing to do. Sometimes secretly I would pick apart my whole bread, getting rid of all the unprocessed chunks of nature that got in the way. I began eating whole wheat bread, but I didn't like it. What was so bad about my Wonder Bread? It was easy. It held together. There was little or no crumbs, and it tasted so good. Why do I have to eat something different? I wish some scientists would explain to me in no uncertain terms.
Well, Pastor Greg, ask and you shall receive. And since you gave me a microphone, I suppose I should talk. There's a few people in here that should know the chemical process of turning whole wheat into white. I'm looking at a couple of them. It's called oxidation, okay? So what we do is we add an oxidizing agent, a chemical, to the wheat, and it pulls the wheat apart and turns it into white. The problem with that is it also destroys the vitamins and the minerals and some of the fiber. So you end up with this nice white flour, but it really has no nutritional value. So we have to add back in, artificially, the vitamins and the minerals and the fiber. And to make it taste good, we also add sugar. Okay? So there's the main problem. Now the other problem is we use 2 chemicals to do this. One of them is called potassium bromate. There will be a quiz later, right? We'll talk about you guys in the analytical class. Okay? The problem with potassium bromate is it's a known carcinogen. And it's only allowed to be used in food in one country. Which one? USA. Okay? The other one, the other chemical that's typically used is Phil, USA, no chance. The other chemical that's typically used is chlorine dioxide. Now, chlorine dioxide is also used right here in Seguin to try and destroy the smell from the Tyson chicken plant. I don't know about you guys, but I really don't want to be eating either one of those chemicals.
Okay. So that's helpful. So basically, they turn perfectly good wheat into nothing, and then change it back into a bread-like substance by adding things they destroyed, with a process that uses the same chemicals that the folks over at Tyson use to conceal the odor of the chicken plant. And they add lots of sugar. You know, I think I can begin to get over whole wheat, here I am. Just because it's easy and it tastes good doesn't mean that it's good for you. fact, that should be the first clue that it's not good for you. As we continue to look at this year's campus ministry theme, the bread of life, perhaps we should keep those words in mind. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's good for you. The bread of life is not going to be a loaf of Wonder Bread. From today's opening hymn, as the grains of wheat once scattered on the hill were gathered into one to become our bread, so may all your people from all the ends of earth be gathered into one in you. This text reminds us that the bread of life is found in community, that the bread of life is community, that we become the bread of life when we gather together, when we remember ourselves, when we remember Christ, when the great sower of the seeds gathers up the harvest. I suppose the trick is in the process of creating community, gathering, which seems to be left up to us. And I think it can be fairly said that most of the time we do too much processing. We bleach each other. We remove anything that might be different, odd, or offensive. And then we add some artificial niceties, and of course that all-important sugar. And too often we end up looking like Wonder Bread. Our fallen human nature seems to value sameness over diversity. We want everything to be smooth over, pre-sliced, easy. And of course, we like the sugar, what makes it seem good and sweet. When all it really does is cover up our broken and false, disconnected, and separated sense of community. And such communities will never be the bread of life. They will never truly satisfy our hunger and our deep need for authentic, diverse community. The bread of life is diverse, it's coarse, it's made up of lots of different things. The bread of life is not one color, it's not white or brown or black, but it's all the colors, even the color of the rainbow. The bread of life doesn't line up in all its understandings. It holds different ideas and worldviews, different ways of doing things, different approaches to solving problems. The bread of life is not about prescribing the doctrines, but rather seeking after the truth, working on the hard questions together. And thus it can be messy. Crumbs will fall down and off the table. The bread of life is never easy. But once you get away from Wonder Bread, once you get away from the sugar and whatever else they do to make it addicting, you will begin to fall in love with the taste of real bread. The different grains, the unprocessed seeds, the unknown and the unexpected, the textures of real life. And once you experience real community, one that challenges you, one that stretches your imagination, one that opens up all the world into you, one that makes you more human and truly free, you will never want to go back to anything else, anything less. And I think that's a challenge before us as a community, as a nation, and as a world. We need to break away from our addiction to Wonder Bread and learn how to appreciate real bread. We need to break away from always gathering up in highly overprocessed ways. We need to stop clumping with things that are safe and familiar. We need to stop letting the fear of others and their seemingly strange ways keep us from remembering God's family. I used to think that Wonder Bread was manna from heaven, sent to save me. But now I know that it's the whole wheat, that truly organic and real bread that will make me healthy and strong. I find it easier to gather people who look like me and think like me, but I know that I'm more complete and I'm stronger when I gather with those who are different than me. When I'm part of a greater community, one made up of rich and diverse peoples and cultures. For it is then and there that I experience, once again, the text of our opening hymn, a foretaste of all that is to come, when all creation shares its feast. It takes a lot of courage to create a rich and diverse community. It takes great faith and trust in a process that is not highly processed. And it takes a whole lot of love and grace to overcome the wounds and the fears that we've been forced to carry deep inside us. Yet we are a people blessed with faith and courage, a people whose hearts have been touched by God's love and grace. So let us turn away from Wonder Bread and begin to seek after the bread of life. And our theme text for this year is lived out and practiced in all fullness. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Amen. I invite you to rise for our closing hymn, All Are Welcome, number 641.
Thank you.